What illegal thing do you do on a regular basis? Hardly anyone is saying speeding, and I know you're lying. I usually go 5 over, 85 in an 80, and still get passed by people going 100 plus. That's really just the standard. Whatever the max is, add 5 kilometers per hour and you will be 100% fine all the time. It's somehow there are people on your tail thinking you are the slowest person in existence. I do kinda wish the speed limit actually meant something other than the suggested speed. A speed limit really doesn't mean limit at all anymore, except legally when someone is doing more than everyone else who are also technically speeding. Just couldn't finish typing it while I was driving. Where I live, if you're going 30 miles per hour over, the police will pass you for going too slow. In Florida, if you're not going 15 over on the back roads, you're that a-hole, and the Interstate 80 is like the minimum. I have beehives on my property. It's against zoning code for properties under 40 acres or something. Yeah, but are the bees happy? The bees are happy. If I have 10 hives at the back of my half acre and my township says I can only have them if I have 5 acres. Neighbors don't care, so whatever. Good neighbors are great. I bet enforcing stuff like that is difficult. I'd be willing to bet police wouldn't even notice your hives unless a neighbor complained. And even then the police might just say that's code enforcement's job and leave it to some inspector. And, if the inspector does show up and starts poking around, train the bees to attack on command. The inspector will never come back. A free jar of honey goes a long way. My dad is a beekeeper and he just gives away jar after jar to anyone. Like an apiary, or did the bees just make themselves at home? He was keeping some empty hive boxes for a friend who didn't have enough room. Goddamn freeloading squatter bees just moved the hell in. Nothing, officer. Illegal omission of commas. Illegal omission of capitalization and punctuation. Correct answer. But do you have a license for that? Nothing, sir. Pretend my jury summons didn't arrive. This, here on Canada, jury duty is a requirement when summoned, but a company paying an employee for missing work for it is not. With all due respect to our judicial system, I'm more concerned about paying my bills and supporting my family than jury duty. When my wife was called up, she put this as a reason she couldn't go and she was let off. I am not sure it works in every case, but my wife literally out a sentence at the bottom of the form for reasons she couldn't or shouldn't do it. I have never been called upon, thankfully. The way I personally handle this is that I go on the day I'm required, then make up some bullshit reason as to why I would be too biased to serve. Then I'm out of the drawing for a while. I tried saying once that I believe cops never lie. The judge looked at me like, "Mon bro." Then he went into a scenario and speech about how cops lie and asked me if I still believed that. Dude called me out so well, I said, "Well, I guess you're right." I ended up getting selected. No idea if it was by the defense of prosecution, but I had to believe they both thought I was a wild card. Yo ho, a pirate's life for me. Are there any studies checking how many people pirate media on a weekly basis? Because it must have gone down a lot since like Netflix. But it also must have gone up lately since you need 200 subscriptions to different services. I was an inveterate media pirate for years, starting with copying VHS tapes from my local Blockbuster, moving to duplicating PS1 discs to play on my modded rig, and eventually I had a Netflix 5 discs at a time plan, and 2 specially built PCs to do the duplicating. When Netflix streaming came on the scene, I hung up my eye patch and cutlass, feeling that I was receiving access to a reasonable amount of media for my monthly fee. Now, I'm subscribed to Netflix, Prime, Hulu and HBO Max, as well as an expensive cable package. Next month, I'll be upgrading my internet connection and dropping all of that bullsh. Yeah, get that booty. One of only 2 access roads into my neighborhood was one way only. The other one was a detour of about 7 kilometers, so everyone just completely ignored the one-way signs until it was removed after a few months. Mysteriously removed. Not sure if it's apocryphal, but I've read of a student, in UK I think, who demanded that he be provided mutton and ale during the exams, citing an obscure university bylaw from centuries ago. The professors compromised and gave him a burger and coke. After the exams, he was fined for not wearing his ceremonial sword to the exam. Forgot the sword? Wow. Amateur. Filthy casual. Was curious, so did some googling. Snopes says it's just a silly old legend, but I appreciated the moment of humor nevertheless. The railing by the basement stairs is 0.25 inches too short. You do the railing on a regular basis? Railing the railing. It's all good fun until someone falls down the stairs. Once a week I put my prescription drugs in a weekly organizer to make it easier to take them every day. This now makes sense why when I went to a concert in New York a bouncer warned me about not keeping my medication in a pill box. I haven't done it since that occurrence and always carry the medication in the actual container. He just pretty much nicely warned me about it. But damn, I didn't know it was against the law in New York. Learn something new every day. Why was a bouncer at a concert handing out information about proper medication use? That one still blows my mind. Is that really illegal? Don't you also just need to have your prescription? In NY it is. A close friend of mine got arrested this year for having Xanax, which he is prescribed, in the original bottle, but the label was damaged and couldn't be read, so they arrested him, took his medication, and he had to get the pharmacy to print a new label and go to court to prove the meds were his. Everything was fine, but in the meantime he was unnecessarily arrested and left without his medication for several days. Hypothetically, of course, murder. Hello. Username checks out. Jaywalk. IJrun. See you later. Suckers. IJ Drive. IJ Walk. Jrun and NJ Port. It's cool being able to teleport to jail. You know, jaywalking is only illegal in the first place because car manufacturers wanted a way to shift the blame of drivers hitting pedestrians to the pedestrian. Prior to the 1910s it was common for people to walk wherever they wanted, but as cars became more common so did accidents, and the public started to blame automakers. There was even a petition with over 40,000 signatures in Ohio demanding automakers limit speeds to 25 miles per hour. The auto industry hated this, came up with the term jaywalker to shame pedestrians, J meaning hick or uncultured to city living. Did school programs with AAA kind of like DARE but to keep kids out of the road and got laws passed that could carry fines. We need to rise up and take down Big Karma. Jaywalk. It's 5 AM and I'm walking to my miserable job. No way I'm waiting for a walk signal. Are you Cername checks out. Rule number 1 of jaywalking is don't get hit. Same. It's safer to jaywalk right before this dangerous intersection where there are too many accidents and drivers don't pay attention to pedestrians. Walk around suspiciously with a fish. Is that effing fish Jenga? No, knocks over stack of fish. Gangsta Climb trees. It's illegal in Canada but the police think it's a stupid law and don't enforce it. Pardon? I guess I've been an outlaw since I was just a wee lad. Yeah, it's stupid but no one cares. There are more important things to deal with. You are not an outlaw for breaking the law. You're an outlaw if the court decides you no longer have the right to protection of the law. Meaning anyone can rob or kill you and you have the same rights as a mosquito. Or shower? I don't think it's illegal in all of Canada. I don't see how it could be. People live in vast swathes of land with all but plenty of trees on their property. This doesn't sound like a thing. Maybe trees in specific regions, cities? I sometimes ride my bike naked. You're naked or the bike is naked, both. So story time. I went to visit my friends in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm more of the type to stay home and chill, but we were talking about going to the movies. We ended up playing a board game together instead. Out of nowhere, we start hearing claps and cheers. All three of us go to the window and see a bunch of people driving down the road, completely naked, on bicycles. The flow of peen, jugs, tacos and bums just continued for about 8 minutes until they finished this part of the city. My friend looks over at me, and to think we were going to go to the movies. Why nothing? Of course. I read somewhere once that it was illegal to sing off key in North Carolina. Don't blame me for enjoying my weird music and having no vocal training. There was a very old case in NC where a person was convicted of disrupting church services by singing off key. His conviction was overturned by the state Supreme Court on the basis that he lacked criminal intent. He was an earnest worshipper who just happened to be a poor singer. It's illegal to eat fire hydrants in Northern Ireland. And you do this regularly? You don't? Go to disneychannel.com without my parents' permission. You monster. I'm calling the cops. Download a car. Are you the guy who is 3D printing a Lambo? I pirate a lot of movies, games, TV shows and torrent them. I pirate games. I buy them, too, as I can get around to it. I have a handful of bird feathers, but if you tell anybody I'm gonna be really upset. WTF is up with that law? My daughter is basically a 5-year-old felon with a scrapbook full of evidence of her crimes. It originated to protect birds from overhunting and to keep people from killing birds of prey or other at-risk birds from extinction. But for your little felon there is an application you can apply for through the federal gov to make it legal for you to collect bird feathers. I may apply one day and try to go on the straight and narrow. Watch porn. It's illegal in my country but no one gives a sh even the government. That's because the government employees are too busy watching porn. India? Yes. Hold up. Porn is illegal in India? Why am I still forced to scroll past all those Indian aunt videos to find decent videos? IDK if it's illegal, but it's my district's policy that schools have to have one-way hallways. BC have covered, and there were times I made sure nobody was looking and just snuck the wrong way because I'm new to the school and its layout is confusing AF. And damn it, I'm not walking around the entire school to enter through another door and being late to class. You should have just walked backwards, or moonwalked. It's fine. Germs floating in the air don't care which direction you walk. I read that as Germans. Ride a bicycle at night without pedal reflectors. English law says a bicycle ridden at night must have amber pedal reflectors. This actually seems like a good idea, but is incompatible with clipless pedals. I've no objection as long as you're not wearing various shades of navy and grey at dusk with no lights or other reflectors like the pillock I have to avoid on a daily basis. A few nights back I nearly hit a woman biking in the middle of the night. It was a roundabout and she did have the right of way, but she was on a black bike with no reflectors. Her biking outfit was pitch black, and she was, herself, a black woman. Totally invisible until my lights were directly on her. Nearly gave me a heart attack. Own a lot more than 3 sex toys. Apparently in Washington DC anything other than missionary while doing the deed is illegal. Highly doubt it's enforced though. Yes officer, I'd like to turn myself in. Here's a list of positions I find rocked last night. Wait, owning more than 3 is illegal? Smoke weed in FL. Horse thievery, fraud, murder, sedition, traveling across state lines for the sole purpose of fornication, speeding, impersonating a police officer, impersonating a man of the cloth, burglary, buggery, grand larceny, treason, hijacking, trespassing, desecration of the flag, grave robbery, bank robbery, fishing without a license, car theft, failure to support. You sound like an energetic young man, a real go-getter. I try to keep busy. My ancestors are smiling upon me. Imperials. Can you say the same? CJ. Probably. I read that as impregnating a police officer. Drugs. Regularly read Mango Manhwa on the sites that must not be named. Back in 2015 I drove on a regular basis with only a driver's permit rather than a license. I used to drive without a license a lot as a teen. There were times which resulted in juvenile court. Now you can't drive. Me. I already can't drive. JC. Well now you super can't drive. Me. We'll see about that. Nice try. FBI. Based on your browser history it's best you don't share. I mean, what FBI? Yep. The NSA doesn't need to ask. They already know. And the CIA would just kill you without ever asking. Criticize my government. It's illegal in my country to do so. It's a trap. Totally not a trap. How do you do fellow lawbreakers? If anyone can point me to the nearest party with banned narcotics, I'll be showing up in my trusty Crown Vic. I got it from my grandparents. I feed pigeons at the park. It's illegal to feed pigeons mainly in neighborhoods. Nobody really raises a stink at the park, though. I mainly just try to feed the doves, grackles, and peacocks. The pigeons are unavoidable. One time a rooster showed up out of nowhere, almost blew my cover. I like pigeons. They're a funny bunch once you get to know them. Profile picture checks out. Smoke weed. It's not legal in the UK sadly, but sometimes I just need a day or so of low to no pain and my anxiety takes a break. For those couple of days each month, I can't sleep soundly and wake up without crippling pain. This is one of the reasons weed has become legal in some US states. I live in Michigan and my fiancé has trouble sleeping when I'm traveling for work, so I get her edibles and it helps her sleep soundly. They even have 5mg edibles if you are sensitive and need a small dose. I hope the world understands the benefits of marijuana soon. I may be lying on my EI report. Nothing major, just the were you ready and willing to work every day of this period had a depressive episode related to me being fired, and that has caused sleep schedule issues. War crimes, false surrender, killing civilians, collective punish my mean nothing. Not me, but my friend drives a taxi without a bale of hay. London Hackney carriages, taxis, are required to carry a bale of hay and sack of oats at all times. A very odd law, which has been in place for over 100 years. Many taxi cab drivers started buying extremely small bales of hay and bags of oats in their cars due to this law.